Hello, and welcome back to the Caim Circle podcast. This is your host, Jessa Francis. I am back recording in my temporary little space here in San Antonio, Texas. I have had a whirlwind of a summer. I am happy to be back recording because I had kind of pushed through rapidly recording a whole bunch of different episodes before I left on my summer adventure. And as I have had them just kind of rolling out on their own, so I didn't have to worry about it, I just realized how unhappy I was with those recordings and how they just didn't feel like me. And not that I was being inauthentic or anything like that. I think I got a little nervous about providing content, and got pulled away from what I really want to share here and provide here. And so I'm back. I'm in this space for 2 more months, and I I have this new bit of inspiration. I'm reinvigorated to provide you in real time content about what's going on with me. And what I really wanted to do here in the first place was to do storytelling, to share my story and to have other people come on here and share their stories, and to really capitalize on that power of the human experience and what our story is. My very first episode was a story to tell, and I just kind of gave a massive overview of what happened with me over the past several years, like just this condensed summary of what I've gone through and how I've gotten to this place in the here and now. But obviously I couldn't fit in everything. And I want to get back to that. I want to get back to sharing more of what I have learned through my self-reflection work, through my self-study, through my self-inquiry, through my self-development, awareness practices, all of these things, and why knowing all of this and uncovering all of this and how to help you do the same thing, right? Because it has helped me in such a deep, profound way in getting clear. And and I say that with so much love because, listen, I'm still in a state of confusion. I'm still in a state, I'm sitting here right now, what feels like an actual human ping pong ball that is just pinging around all over, not even a ping pong ball, like a pinball in a pinball machine. And I am just all over the place. And I'm still living in a space of, I don't know what's gonna happen next. And I've actually been able to lean into that and surrender to the process, right? But I do it from a place of profound, deep inner knowing. I can always check in with myself, with my truth, with the light and love within. And no matter if I don't know what happens tomorrow, none of us know what happens tomorrow, what I plan for, right? I'm planning for accordingly, and I'm planning for in a way that I'm moving forward in alignment with my truth. And so as I say all of this, today, what really got me in this particular seat here now, right? And in that first episode, like I said, it was a very mass overview. If you've not listened to that episode, even if you skip every other episode after it, don't skip the first. Listen to the very first episode. And then you will just get a very clear idea of who I am, and then roll with me from there. Listen to what sounds interesting, right? But so after that big, summary of, okay, where I came from, where I was raised, what I went through, how I got to wanting to start my own business, all of that. What I want to share today is how I have been able to, just in this last year alone, make humongous, like just massive strides forward in my own self-development. Because I started writing memoir, right? I started this self-discovery process when I was getting my degree, my bachelor's in English with a minor in creative writing. I got pushed into a memoir writing class, and I started with just these little random stories, my deployment essay, and about going back to my childhood home and these conversations I had with my father when we were there, and just uncovering these little things. But then I had this huge blowout in my life where I'm getting divorced. I'm questioning myself and every decision that I'm making. I don't know what the heck I'm doing with myself. I'm so confused on who I am, what I want, where to go, all of that. And I knew I had to get to the root. I knew I had to uncover where all of my low self-esteem and my self-worth issues were stemming from. And so I sat down to write that. I wanted to know that. I was writing a memoir with the theme of that. And what it ended up being was me being able to sit down and say, in 1985, I was born to, and, really dove into not just my story, but my parents' story and what I was taught about who I was, right? And the values that I was taught and the values that I thought were mine because they were my parents. The societal insights that were my insights, because it was just uncovering and getting down to the nitty-gritty of the programming. And it was the story, my story, that helped me get there. And physically writing it out was just a game changer. And it's still that, because I'm still doing that. And I always will, even if I got to a point where I had written out every single little detail of my past, there's still the next day. And now I'm using the right prompts to help me, make sure that I am learning from my mistakes and actually growing rather than staying stuck. And so how did I get from going through this memoir writing process and uncovering all of that to where I am? Because it was actually like this, it started in like 2017 that I started writing these memoirs. And then it was 2020 that I wrote the big memoir, right? So it was a slow process. And then it was like this huge, massive thing. But at that time, when I was writing that big memoir, I was separated from my children. I was newly divorced and separated from my ex-husband. And I came back to the States after that. And even though I had recognize the patterns or I guess not even recognize the patterns necessarily yet, but I had uncovered the truth of my programming and why I operated and especially felt the way that I did and saw myself the way that I did, and specifically where my self-worth issues were coming from. I was able to recognize that, or I saw that now, but I was still just a ball of guilt, shame, and self-loathing because I had, in my mind, abandoned my family and my children, gone over, and I felt like I had done this irreparable damage to my children, that I was just this horrible human being. And I hated myself. I could not look myself in the mirror after all of that. And I was miserable. Truly just hurting so badly. And all I knew how to do was just go to work and try to figure it out and try to keep writing. And it wasn't until last year, about it was June of 2023, that I really started making massive, even bigger shifts. So trying to stay on track here, right? I get back from Scotland in 2021. I'm in this pit of self-loathing. I get hired. I wander aimlessly trying to start up a freelance writing job. It doesn't work. I can't figure this out. I need to just get a job. I had 6 months I was working at a distribution center manager at a high-end luxury clothing company, and just burned out very quickly, working like near 70 hours a week or some nonsense. And then my kids moved to San Antonio, which Charleston to San Antonio, big gap there. And so I was spiraling again. But right before all that happened, I got hired at Sachet, the non-alcoholic bottle shop, and it just breathed new life into me, because it reconnected me with my truth, right? The distribution center was not my truth. That was not something I wanted to do. That was just something I felt like I had to do. So it was not in alignment with what I wanted. And Sachet and the NA bottle shop, that was in alignment. That felt good to me. And so just by showing up every day more as myself and being able to be, work in communications and work creatively and talk to people and make things pretty and learn and write and all of that, I started thriving just because my daily actions supported the core essence of who I was, right? I was more capable, even though my kids were now further away from me. It also gave me the flexibility with this position to be with them, and it was just part-time, and so I was able to go and be with them whenever I needed, and it worked really, really well for all of 2022. But nearing, after we got through that and getting into 2023, I knew that it wasn't going to last. I needed to be in the store. I didn't have the flexibility I used to, things like that. And I needed to go be with my kids more often, because I knew it was just an essential part. Just like, doing something that I felt aligned with, I needed my kids and my kids needed me. And it was a huge part of what I needed. And so I started up Untoxicated with an actual mission to follow my truth and to do what was more in alignment. And I had this deep feeling in my guts that Untoxicated was somehow going to lead me to running and holding the retreats, the nature retreats and the writing retreats that I had always fantasized about, right? And so I just had this in my mind, and I started dreaming about it more and more. And so at first, I go down to Florida. I'm doing a little bit there. I'm helping out my father. And then I get a few opportunities in San Antonio and Austin, right here where my kids are. So I could be with them all, for some extra time, and then also have them all summer long. right? So that was our plan. Like, I got them for holidays and for the summer, and I could come in and see them whenever. But I really, really wanted to capitalize on that. My goal was to see them half the year, right? So I came in May and just was starting up Untoxicated, trying to figure it out, trying to make it money wherever, and doing whatever I could, right? Doing tastings, trying to do sales, all this stuff. And I got this opportunity to do a Thirsty Thursday event at this little new retreat center in Austin, Texas. And I'm just so excited about this because it's like, this is it, right? This is my calling. Like, it's all moving in alignment. I knew Untoxicated was going to take me to the retreats, and here I am in a retreat center, sharing these alcohol-free drinks. And so I'm there. It's my very first day there. I don't know anybody. I really don't know what I'm doing. I'm still feeling quite insecure, but also, ready for whatever. I'm open. I'm ready, and I'm open. And so I'm in there. I'm just getting there, and in walks two women who are going to be holding a half-day retreat there the following weekend. And I had no idea that they were coming, that was happening. Like, I was very outside of the loop. But I'm standing in the space, and they walk in, and I get introduced, and they're two incredibly gorgeous, beautiful yoga teachers. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And like, immediately I just kind of, I don't know, like, just like kind of that deer in the headlights, but at the same time, like, in this bubble of an invigoration, like, these are my people. I have been so lonely and so, so far away from myself for so long. I had never allowed myself to bond with people who really resonated with me, right? And so I just know these are my people. And one of these women, her name is Joy. If you were to open up the dictionary and the encyclopedia and look up the word joy, what does this mean? You would see her picture. She is there with her big smile and her booming laugh that just like grabs you by the shoulders and it makes you pay attention, right? It's just like, she is life and sunshine, and I was just like, wow, who is this woman? I love her. And the same thing with Allie. And Allie's, she's going to be there teaching yoga. Joy is there teaching pranayama, which is yogic breath work. They're going to have another friend there who is he's a holistic registered nurse, and he supports people in understanding anything and everything that you could want to know about the way your body works and how we need minerals and all these different things. So he's teaching about minerals, and they're like, oh, you should totally join. And they just immediately invite me in. They're like, yeah, you should totally join, and you can share your drinks, and it would be great. And the next thing I know, I'm connecting with these women and realizing, it just clicked in me on such a deep, profound level, because I met these new people that I had never had the opportunity to be around, right? I'm growing up, small town Indiana, in the military, only ever around military or my family. I don't ever really get outside my bubble. And then I'm introduced to the kind of person that just made me realize how much I had been holding back. They're literally shining their light. And I had no idea. I I had not been able to do that for myself since I was a very young girl, right? I mean, I must have been, I know that when I was a little girl, I was like super vibrant and funny and silly and just full of life, right? But I had not really allowed myself to be that or shine that brightly. I had been dimming my light for so long, and here is Joy, who is not just a candle, not just shining her light, right? She is sunshine. And I knew my whole life was going to change after that. And Allie, she's like telling me, you should totally look into becoming a yoga teacher. And it was just very kind of random. Like, I've always been into fitness. I've always done strength training, though. I mean, I do some running. I do martial arts. I have a second-degree black belt in Taekwondo, but I hadn't done that in years. And I'd done some yoga, but I had not really dove down that path before. It always seemed too slow for me. I was always like, I want to lift some heavy weight, right? I want to kick and punch boards. But next thing I know, I'm like, I'm just doing it. I don't even think I rationalized it. I just started. This is what I should do. And I did it. And so Joy connected me with her teacher, who is now my teacher, not only just, been guiding me through my yoga teacher trainings, but has been a mentor, a guide, business and all the things, spiritual expansion, trauma-informed care, facilitator training, all the things. Anything that you could. She's just this amazing powerhouse woman. I didn't know what it meant to have a mentor. I'd heard of other people having mentors, and I was just like, okay, that seems silly to me, like having it. I didn't really, and I should have, because I had teachers growing up and professors as well in college that had a huge, profound impact on me. But the word coach and the word mentor to me didn't click in the same way as like a high school or teacher or professor. But they are teachers, they are educators, they are guiding lights toward where you want to go and what you want to learn. And not only was Joy like immediately a massive lesson, just an embodied lesson for me, just by looking at her and seeing her and watching her, I was immediately enthralled. And then I am introduced to a woman, and I finally recognize the power of what it means to have a life coach or a mentor or a guide. And I went in it was literally just a few weeks, and I was making massive shifts and changes in my mental state. My mindset was altering drastically. I mean, it was a radical transformation for me in mind, body, and spirit. Just being able to breathe, being able to move, being able to connect with myself, just by listening to someone else explain it in a different way and show up with a different perspective and a clear plan and game. Like, this is how you play the game. This is how you move the pawns. This is stop your thoughts. This is what's inside of you. This is how to find it, how to uncover it, how to feel about it. Honestly, it's just mind blowing about how big of a game changer it is to find the right coach, the right mentor. And now, I've had a few different coaches and mentors, and really learning, what resonates with me, what works for me, and therefore realizing who it is I could serve, right? And I'm thinking back on all of the things, right? Everything, I started teaching Taekwondo at like 12 years old. Before that, even, I was teaching my brother to tie his shoes and ride his bike. I was always there to guide and support friends and family. I was tutoring, and I was a writing coach throughout college, all of this stuff. And I never thought of myself as a teacher, but I realized, like, I am an educator. I've always been an educator. I mean, it's something that I realize now, it's just innate. It's innate. I can teach people how to slow down, how to breathe, how to paint, how to write, how to move their body. And I had been doing these things all along, but had never given myself the ability to respect it, until I found a mentor that I respected so much. And knowing that, I went from being lost in the dark to having this beautiful guiding light. It was literally like wandering around on my hands and knees and feeling around in the grass ahead of me in the pitch black, and just barely being able to see where I'm going and what I'm doing, but slowly moving and creeping my way, right, to having a flashlight in my hand and taking steady steps, and even running when I want to, and when the path is clear, because I have this light in my hand and I'm able to move forward. And so I think that's it. That's what I wanted to share today, is the power of mentorship, the power of having the right coach to support you in the direction that you want to go, right? And what's really interesting, right, is wrapping this all the way back around, is I started all of this memoir writing, right, because I didn't know what direction to go. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what I wanted. I didn't know how to show up in this world for myself. I was constantly gaslighting myself and second guessing myself, because I had broken all of the trust within myself, and I had to rebuild it. But I had to learn first. I had to awaken. I had to become aware of all of it to even start that uncovering. And then I learned about chakras and about all the other spiritual tools and meditation and yada, 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 that helped me really, really, really get clear. So it's kind of interesting, right, that once I knew myself enough, right, that I at least understood, this is in alignment with me, this feels good to me, yes, I want this, versus I just need to do whatever. This is the most practical move. Like trying to be logical according to what your programming is and what your family, your friends, and society is saying for you to do, right? Because I had always followed that. Oh, well, I need a job, so I'm going to be a distribution center manager because I have that skill set, even though I hate it and I'm miserable. And so finally just moving towards the things that I loved, and how it all wraps around right back around to helping other people figure out the whole thing, and helping them get to the point that they know their limiting beliefs, they know the programming, they understand that, so that they can move forward with clarity, in alignment. And then when you get there and you figure out, like for me, what do I want? I want to take people outside. I want to help them write. I want to help them move. I want to help them breathe. I want to help them slow down. I want them to know themselves. And I have all these tools to help with that. And it lights me up. Like, that's what I want. right? But you may figure out, like, what I really want to do is I love helping people get organized, or I love helping women with this particular issue, or I love teaching about science. Basically, it all comes down to how can you serve, right? What lights you up? What can you bring forth and give to the world that you love giving, right? When you give, you receive all at the same time. When you find that, and then you can find a mentor that takes you in that direction and can guide you and support you there, right? I found yoga and I found the perfect teachers. Not only do I have Adi Shakti, but I have our master teacher, Yoga Shiva Shikatu, and they combined make just pure, beautiful magic. And now I have this beautiful pathway that, is just illuminated. And even when I'm feeling a little unsure about, yes, I'm making my own pathway too, right? But I have support. I have the right support, aligned mentorship. And so I think after over 30 minutes, I think I need to leave it at that for today. I feel so much better getting all of that out. I just want to say, for one moment, I want to just express my gratitude. My grandmother, to my mother, to my 5th grade teacher, Mrs. Rockaway, to Mrs. Lichty, to Dr. Gretter, to Dr. HT, to all of my teachers and guides and the people who have really, really been a beacon for me. And then especially to Ali and to Joy and to Adi Shakti. I'm just profoundly and deeply grateful for their guidance and for their love in my life. And I'm so excited to be alive and living this one wild, crazy life. Whether it's one or not, this is, in this body at least, right? Who knows? But you are someone, and you know that you are just moving forward with programming. You know that you're not unhappy. That you're unhappy and that you're not in alignment with your truth, but you don't know what that is or where to start. I would like to call myself your starting point. So reach out. And you can reach out on my website, or you can DM me on Instagram, or you can send me an email. All of the information is there for you. I'll be back next week. I love you all. Big, deep inhale and exhale. Remember to breathe. I hope you have a beautiful and happy rest of your day. Thank you so much for being here with me, and see you soon.